All right, we are back. Lots of comments coming in. I see you guys streaming. Sorry, I took a short break, but when coming back now, we will be stable and rolling. Thank you very much for joining us once again. As just to remind you, today we have Fatuma Hakar, for the CEO Girlkind Kenya, Twitter handle at Girlkind Kenya, as well as Benazir Mohammed, founder and director Silver Lining Kenya. Reach out to her at Benazir Moha on Twitter, as well as when we have this conversation. Please keep your comments coming in. I'll just read them as they pop on the screen. Remember to use the hashtag #FGMLive while making those comments. I see people tuning in from Laikipia, and I'll just have a quick review of who is joining us before we go on with this show. Just remember that we are going to be tweeting using the hashtag #FGMLive. All right, I see different people joining us from different platforms, and I'm just going to go through that. I see Walter Maunde says, good discussion, bro. Thank you very much. Paul Naiputari, I like the show. Keep it up. Thank you very much. As well as Mariam Sheikh, too bad about the network. If need be, can come on board through, though these two ladies are on the ground. I hope you get to hear them. Keep up the good work. Harrison Kuraro Lekirio says, tuned in from Laikipia North Sub-County. Keep the comments coming in and ask any questions. Mariam Sheikh, we'll see as the program continues if we'll be able to add you. For that now, let's just go straight to this conversation. Karibuni sana, the ladies in the house. We do appreciate having you. All right, straight to the point. 96%. And some plout it at 94. But those are the statistics of FGM among the Somali community. And that's a predominant community. It's a community that has a big population in Garissa as well. What is the situation now? We are experiencing the COVID-19 lockdown, pandemic, and people are quarantining. Others are just staying at home at this time. What is the situation on the ground? Starting off with Fatuma.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. As for me, I work with the village people, the grassroots people. And so we have lots of FGM going on and increased gender-based violence. And what we are trying to do is we have our local, our local informers that they come in to inform us that there's some activity, FGM activities that's going on.
Yeah.
And what we do, and we hear these cases and we transfer it to the right authorities.
Yeah.
So, at the moment, and we had a lot of them, but we didn't see. We didn't see because what they normally do is take the girls to bushes,
yeah,
and they hide them there. So until maybe till they get well or mpaka wapone, they won't bring them back to the village.
Okay.
So at the moment we have a lot of work going on.
All right. And to you, Benazir, what's the situation on the ground? COVID-19 is slowly becoming a problem in this part of the country as well. Where are we in regards to the pandemic in general, if you can hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Benazir?
Fatuma has said about... Yes, I can.
All right. All right, go on. All right, connection challenges on this side. We are still going to try to add our guests, but remember to keep the comments coming as we also try out to reach to these activists on the ground. Remember, this is the FGM Live. My name is Jeremiah Kipainoi, and today we are hosting guests from Garissa County, which is actually on the northern part of this country. Leave out in the comments and ask those questions we will be sure to answer them when we can. All right, now calling them, we will still be adding them back to this conversation so that we can have candid conversation in regards to FGM in that part of the country. Lots of issues in regards to FGM in Garissa. Yesterday we were in Tana River and we talked about different issues in regards to either FGM as well as factors that contribute to FGM in that county. Okay, we are back, and I just like to go straight to the point. Fatuma, FGM, the percentage is quite high, and during COVID-19, it poses challenges in regards to how people are able to reach and also monitor the situation on the ground. You run an organization. How is it like during this time? How are you operating and coping?
We are creating a lot of awareness about the effect of the FGM.
Yeah.
And we are working with the carters, with the women who are doing the circumcision.
Yeah.
And so what we are doing is we are creating an alternative livelihood for them.
Yeah.
So and we are teaching them how to do sherani and how to do tie and dye. We opened a small center for them, and we have a lot of sewing machines there, and some of them already started their own business, and we're teaching them how to do henna, the decoration of the hands, what do you call the henna, the Somali, the way
henna,
the decoration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So, and we teaching them and tie and dye, so that because these the cutting, the high season of the cutting, they're getting a lot of money. It's like 1,000 shillings for one girl or 2,000. I don't know, but they're getting money for it.
Yeah.
So, and what we thought is maybe if we teach them alternative livelihood, that they can do something else instead of harming these little girls. So maybe they can stop. So now we have like 3 of them who stopped the cutting and started their own business now.
Amazing. So during the COVID-19 pandemic, I know there are many issues, but are there any worries or concerns in Garissa in that regard? Just starting off with that. How is the situation in regards to COVID-19 in Garissa?
There's situation in COVID-19, I think, and we didn't had a lot of cases, but I think we have 5 cases in Garissa now. And so I think we're doing good.
All right. Thanks a lot for that. I know a single case, like lack of a single case would be even better. So lots of challenging days ahead as well. So if you can hear me now, Benazir, we are talking about FGM during this pandemic, and you also run an organization. How are you coping?
Well, for us, how we used to our FGM work was more on digital skills, and it was more on sensitization of young people, because we believe for something that is like FGM intertwined between culture and religion, it's going to take the younger generation to end it. And so what we used to do is, before even COVID-19, is try use as much digital spaces as we can. So we developed videos that are on YouTube, theaters where young people can watch, and these are journeys of the survivors that we're working with, women who have gone through female genital mutilation. They tell their story, and we pick the most painful part of the story, merge all these stories to create one film. And these are things that are available online, and people can watch them and see what young girls go through in the name of becoming women. The other thing that we usually do is create awareness among the young people that we mentor. We have a mentorship program called Mentor Me, and we still base our focus on the younger generation. This Mentor Me program is a broad program that focuses on changing the perception of young people. This is...
it's okay.
Sorry. So this is... there's so much noise around me. So this is about leadership, including career development, and then integrating the aspect of sexual and gender-based violence. And when we talk about sexual and gender-based violence, then FGM falls in that category. So we try to inspire young people, try to tell them about the effects of FGM and how, as young girls, they can take up the challenge and become community ambassadors in their villages.
Amazing.
So now with the pandemic, again, it becomes difficult for us because we have always worked on socially. We are people whose work needs another person. For our sensitization programs, we need young people to sensitize. So with COVID-19 and the constant social distancing, it becomes a challenge for us to carry out our normal activities, but still our digital activities are having an impact as usual.
Amazing. Thank you very much for that. I know Garissa is also sometimes very difficult to access. Been to Garissa, but I've not been to Garissa in itself. And I know it's almost the same geographical location if you look at it in regards to both the communities that live there as well as distance from Nairobi town, I'd say. In that regard, how are you coping now in regards to just being able to collaborate with people? I know you've talked about using internet at this time, but I know there are people who are very crucial in this campaign, people like police people, also we have activists like you. How are you able to just keep in touch and be able to work together at this time? And that goes to Fatuma.
And sorry, can you repeat again that? I didn't hear properly.
Are you still able to connect and collaborate with authorities as well as fellow activists and people who run organizations at this time of COVID-19?
And yes, and we normally, because in Garissa we have a technical working group, and so we normally do Zoom meetings, and we collaborate and we work together through a Zoom meeting.
Okay, amazing. Thank you very much. I see different people joining in. I see Antonia Sophia says FGM is perpetuated by loads of myths. It's good to clear the myths attached to it. So I think that's one thing that we need to talk about very briefly today. Mariam Sheikh says there is growing concern on medicalization of FGM where nurses are cutting girls. So reliance on traditional cutters may be shifting. What is your take? All right, so we'll just get back into that. Just keep on reading the comments. Antonia Sophia says inclusion of male community structures in the advocacy work is paramount, like religious leaders as well as elders. And he also says, I work with Womankind Kenya, and FGM is in the heart of our organization. Thank you very much for that. So we'll just go to issues now in Garissa. I know around Tana River, it's still a flood area. We've been experiencing floods, and that really makes it very difficult to access some areas. How is that affecting your work? That goes to Medazir.
Well, the floods in Tana River are making work very difficult because people are now local IDPs in different schools, and the aspect of social distancing is not being obeyed with COVID-19 having one of its rules is social distancing. So for us to implement our normal activities, first we have been in the month of Ramadan, and during this month, the chances of cutting girls goes very low because the community is more into the obligation of fasting and prayer. Yeah. So in the coming months, we're going to witness an increased chances of young girls being dated or being circumcised. Yeah. And so it calls to us as local community workers and local activists to partner with the schools that are hosting these communities and also the police people to at least man the situation in the camps where the IDPs are settling in, and also in the village.
All right. Thank you very much for that. To Fatuma, how is that affecting your work now that the rains are here, COVID-19 is here? Are there any strategies that you've been able to adapt to in regards to just making sure that you're able to still continue working at this time?
And yes, and first of all, and as an organization, and what we did is we got water tanks from the women rep, because in the villages where we work, they have watering places that every other, maybe after 3-4 days, and 1 hour chili, then Fereji, and then there's 400, 500 households that's coming to get water from that place that one day only.
Yeah.
So what we did is we got a water tank from our women rep and Honorable Anap Subo.
Right.
And we distributed to the households so that they can at least store some water and they can observe social distancing. That they can come this week and this household by 4, 5, or maybe 50 of the household, they got water, so they don't need to come to the watering places.
Yeah.
And what we did is we sensitized them on how to wash the hands, wearing the face masks, and to remain in their houses so that they don't gather unnecessary, unless it's necessary, so they don't gather places.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's very useful at this time that we're able to provide water where people can wash their hands as well as just to remain, have that sanitation. Thank you very much for that. Garissa, I know, is deemed, as we had said earlier, a county that's far away from Nairobi. So people say we're coming into Kenya sometimes. I've had that experience before. What challenges would you be facing in regards, on normal days, in regards to FGM at that time? Because I know that sometimes you have challenges even in regards to security. Just starting off with Benazir. Challenges that you face in Garissa that you think are unique to the End FGM campaign.
Well, as I had earlier stated, FGM in this community is intertwined between culture and religion. And once anything is intertwined between the practice of people and the belief of people, it becomes difficult for it to end. So that is the uniqueness of FGM in our community, because some people believe it's a religious practice.
Yeah.
Others believe it's our culture, so we should be teaching our children according to the ways of our people. So that's the most unique thing. And as I had earlier stated, for you to end anything that is intertwined between culture and religion, it needs a slow and a gradual process. And that's why we need to focus on young people a lot for us to end FGM.
All right. And to you, Fatuma, what's the unique thing?
And as for me, it's when we just posted, let me just talk about now, when we posted this poster that there's a live chat of FGM.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, you are at home. It's okay. Yeah. All right,
yes. And when we posted this photo that there's a live FGM chat, and there's some guys, I think, mostly men, who are brainwashed that and without FGM we are teaching the young girls prostitution.
Yeah.
We are teaching prostitution, and mostly, and he wrote that is about and we are not following our religion, and what they really don't know is FGM has got nothing to do with religion. FGM is purely traditional. Is the Somali culture? Somali culture is no religion. So what these people don't know is, and they think that we are going against the religion.
Yeah.
So mostly, we have men who are very challenging.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for that. And we had talked about the same yesterday in Tana River when we were talking about FGM and religion. And I know, as Mariam Sheikh had asked before, and I may be requesting us as well to talk about medicalization of FGM. Some counties have a very high rate of medicalization. How is it like in Garissa? This goes to Benazir.
Well, I haven't witnessed or had a direct case of medicalization of FGM in Garissa County particularly, but then I have watched clips and documentaries of FGM being medicalized in different spaces. And it's a bit scary for us, people who have been in the front line fighting against female genital mutilation, because the first way of fighting female genital mutilation was fighting it from a very unhygienic point, where circumcision was done by using razors, and there was no anesthetic and all that. But now when it gets medicalized, it's been sugar coated, so it becomes a bit difficult for us now to sensitize the community from the hygienic point. But again, when you have a quack doctor, when the process of hiring these doctors and nurses is a quack, a weird process and a very ethnic-based process, that's why then you're going to have people who are performing this kind of surgery, very innocent, do not even know what's happening on their bodies.
Amazing. Thank you very much for that. And it's true, talking about medicalization in places like Kisii, for example, or Nyamira, we were experiencing people talking about cleverer ways of doing things, which is actually not clever in the long run, because the side effects also catch up with these ladies in future. So thank you very much for that as well. Still talking about medicalization, Fatma, we know that there are cases sometimes where ladies go to hospital either because of complications or just because of just doing checkups, just maybe prenatal or even postnatal. Do you think medical practitioners are doing enough in regards to sensitizing these communities, especially women when they go for checkups, or women when delivering them, when helping them to deliver? Do you think they are doing as much as they should in regards to just telling them that FGM should end?
I'm sure there's a lot of doctors talking about the harmful of FGM. And the first question that you asked, Banazir, if there is a nurse who is doing a medicalized FGM. I didn't see her yet, but there's a woman who told me there's a nurse in a specific hospital. She refused to tell me, and when I found her, I'm taking her straight to the authorities. So, is that hospital and that one particular nurse who is doing the medicalized and FGM in Garissa, but I didn't find her. I'm still looking for her.
Right.
Yes, and there's a lot of doctors and nurses who are against the FGM, and they are talking to the women. They're telling them the effect, because the women, they will definitely feel the effect of the FGM when they give him birth the first time, because they will cut them again, and they have to go to a lot of procedures. So I'm sure they're talking to them a lot.
Yeah. Mariam Sheikh says religion is used to hold FGM in place. So that's her stand, and maybe we can have a small conversation about that, religion as well as FGM. I know we are talking about delinking FGM from religion, that FGM is not part of Islam, and we've had different people talking about that on this show. In Garissa, how deep-rooted is that? You've already talked that, so just about that a little bit, but just to talk about it in regards to what Mariam has said. Religion is used to hold FGM in place. How true is that? That goes to Benazir.
Well, I remember attending a training with Mariam Sheikh and my colleague here, Fatma, on delinking Islam from female genital mutilation. It's a discussion that is always there. It's a discussion that I don't think it's going to end anytime soon, because it's a belief. It's what people believe. And, the chances of cascading these beliefs are very, very high. So it needs us as people to top up our information. What kind of information do we have when we're going to these communities? Some people challenge us with questions about religion and what it says about female genital mutilation.
Yeah.
So as an activist, if we do not have the information about what perspective or what is the relationship between female genital mutilation and Islam, it becomes a challenge for us. It becomes a little bit confusing to convince the community that this is not a practice that is religious.
Yeah.
The aspect of how we as a community are trying to use the religious leaders in our work against female genital mutilation, We've had sheikhs who are doing khutbah, the sermons, and they're talking about effect of female genital mutilation. Well, I think this is now becoming a discussion, mostly even among the young people, when it comes to the processes that women go when they're delivering, and it's really tough and it's very challenging, and it's sad what women have to go through in the name of culture.
Yeah.
So religion totally plays a very big role, and it calls for us as young people and as activists, as community workers, to also learn more about our religion, to understand what our religion says about everything, not only female genital mutilation.
Yeah.
Have the version of different scholars on what exactly is being said in the Quran and in the Hadith on every aspect. But when it comes to female genital mutilation, there's no specific quotation that says women are supposed to be circumcised.
Yeah.
And I'm urging every person who was actually watching this, please go and do your research. I mean, we are in a generation where knowledge is not limited. We have access to knowledge every single day.
Yeah.
So let's seek knowledge.
All right, thank you very much. That's very important. Sonyangolenga on Facebook says, are there people who are flying children or girls to be cut in that region? And that just goes to Fatma. Have you heard people having flying in children from other countries just to perform FGM on them in Garissa?
Yes, and I had, and as for me, and I myself, and I moved from London. And so, and before, and I moved, and I didn't know, and I knew what FGM was, but and I didn't have, and what do you call, and I wasn't that into it, because and I started researching and going into this FGM when I moved to Kenya, and I saw how my girls are being stigmatized and being abused. That is when I fully went into FGM. So, and I know a lot of my friends who travel from London to Kenya to cut their girls.
All right, and that's not allowed by the law. Actually, it's part of the act. Just states categorically about that.
I know it's not allowed, but according to the Somali community, and they believe that every girl should be cut. So, and they were just doing what the society or what the culture taught them.
All right. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I see Mariam Sheikh saying, I heard about the nurse too, the nurse that we are talking about. She says, I heard about the nurse too, and it's time she was caught and her license cancelled. Please, Fatuma Hakar and Benazir Mohammed, you guys help us get that notorious nurse. So that's a request from Mariam Sheikh. That's something we should actually talk off this show and see how we could collaborate and see ways to just cap, because it's a crime and it's not good for the girls as well. So keep the comments coming. I see Anthony Minor says there is cross-border refugee camps as a challenge to our work to end FGM. How does that affect your work? And this goes to Benazir. How does it affect your work?
So we have unmonitored borders. We have communities moving in and out. We do not have structured centers. Even in the medical services, we don't have like a border that clearly defines this is the people from this side and these are the people from this side.
Yeah.
So it becomes a bit challenging to monitor who is coming in to circumcise the girls, who is taking the girls out for mutilation.
Yeah.
So it's a difficult thing to monitor. And also we have the constant movement of refugees into the refugee camp.
Yeah.
The refugee community strongly believes, even despite the fact that they have so many non-governmental organizations there, they still believe that female, like even like the host community too, like female genital mutilation is normalized in most areas. So with unmonitored movement, constant movement of people in and out, unmonitored borders, it becomes a challenge to control female genital mutilation or end it.
All right, very well answered that. Thank you very much for that. Just to our listeners, this is the end of FGM Live. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll just be talking about FGM, but in this regard, how what steps we're going to take during COVID-19, because there are a lots of issues that are coming up during this time. I know we've been engaging these communities, but just how are we coping with this during this pandemic? Don't go far. We will be back in a few.
Tune in to the End FGM live show from Monday to Friday at 5:30 p.m. East African Time. Find and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at End FGM Live. Reach out to us for inquiries, to report a case, or to support the show on WhatsApp +254 73 400 7674.
All right, we are back. This is the NFGM Live, hosting guests from Garissa County, that's in the northeastern part of this country. We do appreciate having you, Fatuma Hakar, as well as Benazir Muhammad. Asanteni sana for joining us. And to those who are leaving comments on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, please keep them coming, and we will read them as we go on. Very insightful. Lots of insight coming our way as we still continue talking about FGM in different parts of this country. Today specifically talking about FGM in Garissa County. I see Judy Dhuku, and she is asking a question. She says...
We can't hear you, Tony, sorry.
All right, I'm saying...
You...
All right, can you hear me now?
You're not clear.
All right, we'll see how to work on that. Because this question goes to you, then you'll have to fix the sound. Can you hear me now?
Oh.
All right, so I think we'll have to take a short break. When we come back, we'll have fixed that audio issue. But before then, just remember to keep bringing the comments our way, and we will do our best to have them on the live broadcast. This is the End of GM Live. Short break, coming back in a few minutes.
Tune in to the End FGM live show from Monday to Friday at 5:30 p.m. East African Time. Find and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at End FGM Live. Reach out to us for inquiries, to report a case, or to support the show on WhatsApp +254 73 400 7674.
All right, we are back. This is the End of GM Live. Technical issues, but we are back with Benazir, as well as Fatma, and we are just back live. Judy Dhuku was asking a question: is there sex education offered to the young children? And what is your take on sex education in schools and society? Do you think this actually makes a difference in regards to FGM, ending FGM? And that just goes to Fatma, if you've heard me.
Okay, can you say that again, please? I couldn't hear you properly.
All right. There's a small challenge there. But Harith, Judy Dhuku had asked a question: is there sex education offered to the young children? And what is your take on sex education in schools and society? And just to bring it and she asks again, and do you think it would make any difference to help with FGM? That's basically, is there sex education in schools, and do you think it's going to help in ending FGM?
I think there's no FGM education in school, but what we do is we do a lot of mentorship with sensitization of the kids. And we teach them and the harmful effect. And if they introduce, I think it's a good thing to introduce the sex education in schools. The young girls learn a lot.
Yeah.
And I think it will be good for them. And I think it will eradicate the FGM if they teach the girls.
All right. Thank you very much for that brief answer. And to you, Benazir, what do you say about that?
Well, I think sex education is not present in our schools. And what we give to, I'm a teacher by profession, so what we give to learners is usually limited information, and that depends on maybe the literature books they read. We have books talking about FGM now. Yeah. So that's the kind of information we share with students sometimes. Yeah. And again, it depends with the teacher. Yeah. But I would encourage schools that have guidance and counseling departments to embrace teaching students about female genital mutilation. We have done that in our local communities. Yeah. We have invited activists and people to come and speak to students to talk about FGM, and actually marking the International Zero FGM Day. Fatima Akar can attest to this. We had the Garissa Technical Working Group moving around schools and both boys and girls and telling them the effect of female genital mutilation and how they can eradicate the practice. So it's something to embrace, but it's not present in our schools.
All right. This is the COVID-19 time where people are actually adapting to different ways of just fulfilling their daily activities and roles. But one thing that has come up is accessibility. Just to bring this into context, and I just read Anthony Maina's comment. He says, some religious leaders don't practice FGM at family level, but they shy off telling the public they actually do not. Just bringing that into context, and I don't know if you agree with this. Sometimes we have people who have information, either a girl is being cut or maybe a girl is undergoing some form of violence, and the family members, the neighbors know, but no one wants to talk about it. Is there any stigma that surrounds speaking about not practicing FGM in that region?
Yes. Yes. And as for me, and I have, and there's a lot of stigma because what the mom or what do you call it, old lady, they brainwash this informant, because I have a girl who came to me and during the December holidays, because there were some girls who were being cut, girls, and we saved them, by the way, didn't get cut. And when those girls, they were being cut, and she ran to me and she told me they were nieces. She told me, Auntie, there's something going on. Please come and save my nieces. They're being cut. And we saved the girls. And what happened is the girl who came to me, and she became sick. She became sick. Yeah. So, and her mom said now, and that the old lady who was supposed to cut the girls now, and I don't know how to say in English or Swahili, but and yani, what do you call that?
Just say
someone older than you. Yeah, yeah, like and the old woman, she look at you badly now, and you like a bad, like an evil eye, like an evil eye. Yeah. Exactly, yeah. And now, because the girl, the old lady, she was supposed to get some money from the cutting the girls. Now the girls were being saved. The woman didn't get anything. Yeah. So the girl became sick, and now they're saying she's got an evil eye from the poor old woman who didn't get cut. Yeah. So most of them, they've been brainwashed with that now, and they cannot report back to us. They're scared that they will get the evil eye from the old woman, and some of them they're scared and they can't talk because they know the FGM is not good, it's harmful, and they can't talk about FGM and the culture, how they're being treated, how they're being raised. Yeah. They're not supposed to talk about these things. So we have a lot of challenges, but we're getting there. We're getting there.
Thank you very much. So Nyango Lenga is on
just to
all right, go on.
The first part of your question.
Yeah. Go on.
You talked about religious leaders who are not mutilating or circumcising their daughters, but are not willing to share the information or to sensitize the public. And this is because most religious leaders do not find it as a key information to talk about. So they say there are other pending issues, there are other issues we should discuss about, there is corruption, there is all the other things can make issues and topics, but
not FGM.
To them, female genital mutilation is not a very key topic to talk about when it comes to their Friday sermons or the local community members that they either chair or they constantly interact with.
All right. So Nyangole Ngais was asking a question, but it has been answered by Mariam Sheikh. And sorry, just before you continue, I think this is also important for people watching. So Nyangole was asking what type of FGM is practiced out there, and Mariam Sheikh says type 3 infibulation, the worst type. Just a confirmation before you have your point. Are there any other types in Garissa as well?
And there's this mild type that they call it the Sunnah, and I think they're all the same. It's all the same.
Right.
But the one that they did it to us was the type 3, the worst one, with no anesthetic, with the sewing together and everything. But now I think they practice a type called Sunnah now.
All right. And we've been talking about Sunnah as well, because I know they refer to a hadith as well. We've talked about this before, but the conversation that we've had is that it's not a justification. FGM is FGM, whether it's Sunnah or not, right?
Yes, and FGM, because the meaning of Sunnah, because there's a lot of Sunnah that the Somali community that we don't follow. Like it's Sunnah to fast on Friday, on Monday, and on Thursdays. And we don't follow that. So what makes it compulsory for us to follow this Sunnah, the cutting of the girls? That is what I don't understand. So,
All right. And that Sunnah you're talking about, just to clear the air, doesn't reference to FGM in itself, right?
And it doesn't, I don't think, no, it doesn't refer to FGM. There's a lot of Sunnahs.
All right. All right, thanks a lot. Because I know that there was a Sunnah that the Prophet was talking, because once I went to Zanzibar and they were talking about henna and where men can actually add henna in their little finger as well. So maybe that's a context that people need to know, because Sunnah sometimes for people who are in this campaign can only understand it in one context, that is FGM. So I think that's just to clear up the air. One more person is having a says here, okay, let me just read Mariam Sheikh's, because she's following up very constant on this. She says, I have a niece who is not cut, and all her life reference is made to her clitoris. You are sick because of it. You cannot do this or that because you are not cut. Do you think this stigma really leads to these girls just going for it just to feel part of the community? Does it play a part in that?
Yes, because we talked, Marin Shep called me the other day and talking about her niece, and I'm keeping eye on her, because when she gets infection, when she gets a little bit of sick, and they said, and it's because of that thing that you didn't cut. That is why you're getting the infection, and it's because of that you're getting sick. You are not pure, you are not clean. You need to go cut yourself. So, if I think they continue like that, I think she will fall into their trap at last. She will say, just let me just get cut, and for a peace of mind.
Benazir,
I'm keeping an eye. I'm keeping an eye.
All right, thank you very much for that as well. I know it's not an easy job, but we have to do this, and to you, Benazir, I know we've talked about sometimes the fact that everyone does not want to associate with people who are with, maybe even girls, peers do not want to associate with girls who are not cut. Do you think it's a contributing factor, especially while you're still doing your work, even as a teacher, looking at them as well?
Yes, it's one of the factors that can cause a girl to mutilate herself, to seek the whole process of mutilation herself. Human beings love association. We love to be associated and to be part of people, and we want to be constantly accepted by people. And so if you're not being accepted because your mother or someone decided not to chop off your clitoris, then you just want to have it chopped so that at least you can have a community where you belong. So how we're trying at least to motivate these children is to bring in older people who have not gone through the practice, and this is mostly Muslim, non-Somali communities. Who have been, they're Muslims, they practice the religion, but they have not gone through the cut and they don't have any challenges. So by using maybe this kind of women who are, at least they have not gone through the practice and they still are Muslims, that at least them. But then the aspect of association will lead someone to go ahead and practice this.
All right, that's very important. Because I also know that places like Kajiado, where I was growing up in, we've had cases where we have children just telling others that you're not hygienic in that regard because you're not cut. So that really makes them want to go for the cut in that regard. So I really understand that. Anthony Minor says, in advocacy against FGM, the moment you include the word sunnah, you hit dead end, creating space for continuity. And I know that's very crucial comment and note to have in that conversation. Would like to bring this to a close, but I wouldn't want to leave this hanging. There are some terms that sometimes make it difficult, and some excuses that, if tolerated, really make it difficult for people to understand why FGM should not be practiced. And we've talked a couple of times about how we put or package our message while talking to these communities. Do you think there is relevance and importance while speaking to these communities in regards to just trying to find out what works for them in regards to messaging? And this goes to Fatma.
Sorry. Can you repeat that again?
I saw that coming.
Anthony Minor says, in advocacy against FGM, the moment you include the word sunnah, you hit a dead end. And so we've been talking about messaging and how you package your words. Do you think it's important to consciously think about how you pass the message to this community?
And yes, I think, and the best thing is, when you are passing this message, and we normally take we take some shapes. We take, and especially male, because they don't believe in female mostly. So what we do is, we mostly take a Sheikh scholar who understands the traditional and the Quran, the Sunnah, and everything. And so the Sheikh explains to them that this thing, it has nothing to do with religion. It's just Sunnah. So and you can totally do without it. That is what we normally do.
All right. I think we'd like to bring this to a close. Lots of challenges, of course. COVID-19 is here, and this is going to be part of the parting shot. We've had challenges in different counties, and I know that, as you had said, about 5 cases confirmed. What next now? People are now going to be working a little bit much more virtually in a vast county, a little connectivity as well. What's the future like for in regards to the End FGM campaign in Garissa County? Benazir, do you think the COVID-19 pandemic has changed things? Yeah, go on.
Well, I think COVID-19 has already made things difficult, and this is because there's limited movement, and even in terms of access to justice for someone who has gone through any kind of sexual and gender-based violence. It limits our access to these survivors, and also accessing the courts and anything. So, I mean, with COVID-19, we're not hoping, but we're projecting that the cases of female genital mutilation are going to rise. especially in communities that are not in the town, those that are deep down in the villages. And we're hoping that when the pandemic ends, at least we have learned several lessons from this pandemic. One of them being how are we going to maintain our social connectivity despite the fact that we cannot be able to meet? So these are things that even us as a technical working group, us as community workers and as activists, we have to sit down and storm and brainstorm how are we going to continue our work despite the fact that we can't directly meet our people. Right. When it comes to female genital mutilation, we now see the need for going deep down into the villages and sensitizing at least one in every household, because we are coming back and getting back into our household, sitting in these local houses, and when we sit around toxic people, the chances of our minds being polluted are very high. So again, I mean, our work will be tougher when COVID-19 hopefully comes to an end. So we have to be ready to strap up our boots.
Yeah, well said. Thank you very much. I think I just also ask you, how can people reach out to you in case they would like to have a conversation about how to end FGM in Garissa, as well as just to support you? That's to Benazir as well. Then we'll move on to Fatma.
Well, okay, I am on Facebook, and I use my full names. I use Benazir Mohammed on Facebook. Yeah. I'm also on Twitter at Benazir Moha.
Yeah.
And the organization is also on Facebook, Silver Line in Kenya.
Silver Line in Kenya.
We're also on Twitter at Silver_Lining KE.
All right.
And you can also check us on our website, www.silverke.org.
All right. All right. Thank you very much for that.
Yes.
And same
Feel
question.
free to reach out and let's have the campaign of NFGM.
Yeah, thank you very much. I know it's very crucial for us to be able to work from different parts of the country as well. And I know hard to reach areas sometimes suffer the brand by the fact that they are not reachable. Lots of campaigns are easily reached from in areas that are maybe probably having a high prevalence, but not very far away from major cities like Nairobi. So thank you very much for sharing your contacts, and to the listeners as well, please feel free to reach out to Benazir and see how their work is ongoing and how you can support as well. Now headed to Fatma. COVID-19 is here, and lots of challenges, of course. How are we? What do you see as the situation after COVID-19?
And we learned a lot about this COVID-19 now, and the main thing is how we know how we can sensitize and to reach a lot, how we can reach a lot of people through the social media. And the thing that we will do is we will train a lot of youth and tell them to advocate for the FGM.
Yeah. Thank you very much. How do people how are people able to reach out to you in regards to your work in Garissa?
And I have a Facebook, my personal Facebook, which is Fatuma Hakar, and I have my personal Twitter account handle, which is at Fatuma Hakar 1. And then we have the organization and Facebook, which is Galka in Kenya. And then we have the Twitter handle, which is at Galka in Kenya. And we have a website, which is www.galkainkenya.org. And we need a lot of people to come on board. And can I ask request, because I have one request to ask to the people if they can support us.
Yeah.
And because before the COVID-19, the girls they used to go to schools to get their sanitary towels.
Yeah.
And we are in need of sanitary towels. Yeah. If anybody can help us with that, because the girls are stuck at home, they can't afford the pads, and Please, we really need sanitary towels. If anybody can help us with it, please.
I really hope that someone has heard that and they will be reaching out in that regard. So thank you very much for as well sharing that on behalf of the girls. Asante sana. So I think we just bring this to a close, but before we do that, I'm just going to just appreciate everyone who was able to join in and left a comment. Lots of conversations have been ongoing on the screen now. As you can see, we had Mariam Sheikh, thank you very much. Lots of engagement today. We really do appreciate Walter Maunde, as well as Paul Naiputari. Asante sana for joining us. Harrison Kuraru Lekirio, thank you very much for joining us as well. Sonyanga Olengais, thank you very much for the questions as well. They were candid. Judy Dhuku, thank you very much for as well joining and just contributing in this conversation. Anthony Maina joining in from Twitter, thank you very much for being part of this conversation. And lots more of us were able to join in different platforms on YouTube, Facebook, as well as on Twitter. Remember, this show is live to you on Facebook, Twitter, as well as YouTube. And we are live from Monday to Thursday. And on Friday, we have the review for the week. Thank you very much for joining us. I'll just be signing off. Remember that this show is produced by Tony Mwebia and Antonia Sophia, and we come to you every single week. We are now covering 22 hotspot counties in Kenya, and today we were covering Garissa County. Asante sana for joining us. We really do appreciate having you here. Till tomorrow, please take care and keep those who are close to you safe.
Tune in to the End FGM live show from Monday to Friday at 5:30 p.m. East African Time. Find and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at End FGM Live. Reach out to us for inquiries, to report a case, or to support the show on WhatsApp +254 73 400 7674.